Ladies and gentlemen,
To Baikal Chevy of Valley Stream, a family-owned dealership dedicated to providing an exceptional car buying experience. Our knowledgeable and friendly staff are committed to building strong customer relationships and ensuring your needs are met efficiently. We understand that your time is precious, so we've streamlined our process to make your visit efficient and enjoyable. Come visit us today at 709 West Merrick Road, Valley Stream, New York.
Bring color to life with the very best paint, only at Sherwin-Williams.
Leadership is not a gift. It's a choice. Decide to lead.
Hello and welcome to the David S. Mack Physical Education Center for an exciting afternoon of wrestling as the Hofstra Pride take on the number 28th ranked University of Pennsylvania Quakers. This is Hofstra's first home dual meet since November 16th, and they are coming off a 35-12 win over Bloomsburg and are 5-4 on the season. For the Quakers, they bested Columbia 24-20 in Ivy League action on Friday, are 6-3 overall, and have 7 ranked wrestlers in their lineup. I'm Olivia Hillstead, joined by Zach Weicker today. Zach, what are you looking forward to in today's dual meet?
I think the matchup I'm looking forward to the most is seeing a ranked wrestler of ours in Ross McFarland taking a ranked wrestler of UPenn and Max Hale. Very close in the rankings. If you look at the coaches' rankings, McFarland's ranked number 26, Hale is ranked 18, so that should be a very exciting, close matchup, and I'm excited to see where it goes. But on to the matchup right now. At 125, we have Dylan Acevedo, who is a senior from Sayreville, New Jersey, taking on Max Gallagher, who's a sophomore from Blue Point, New York. Dylan Acevedo has a record of 6-11 this season, while Max Gallagher has a record of 18-6 and is ranked number 27 in the coaches' ranking and number 26 in the Intermat rankings.
It'll be a quick shot by Gallagher there, right on the double to get the takedown early in this match. Did a great job of setting up Acevedo, making him move, and then saw that opening and took the shot. Perfect double.
Yeah, Gallagher wasted no time on the clock. Got that takedown with less than 30 seconds into the match. Fast with the hands, fast to get into that double leg position. Good work from Max Gallagher as he's now trying to break down Dylan Acevedo.
Yeah, Gallagher really working that left side. Acevedo starting to build up, kind of got to that tripod position, but Gallagher's really putting just all of his weight on this one side to keep him down as they go out of bounds here. Just about a minute into this match and already a lot of action. So
Dylan Acevedo, we last saw him compete in the Bloomsburg duel where he got a 7-3 major decision over Major Lewis. That was a great matchup from Dylan Acevedo where he was able to get a lot of points on the board. So let's see if he can be able to get a little bit of points against a very tough wrestler in Max Gallagher.
Gallagher moved to the right side there to try to put weight there, breaking Acevedo down once again. Now trying to get hand control to maybe set up some tilts or some turns. Acevedo really having to do like a lot of work to build up here. Gallagher's got really good pressure on top.
Yeah, for someone that is in the lighter weight classes, Max Gallagher is doing a really good job of using his weight on a guy like Dylan Acevedo. Every time Dylan Acevedo tries to build to his base, Gallagher does a good job pushing forward, breaking down. See right now he's leaning to the left side, putting weight all the way on that side, making it difficult for Acevedo to build to that base. So Gallagher is doing a good job of making this a very tricky and tough situation for Acevedo.
He's also doing a good job of trapping that foot every time that Acevedo starts to build. Heard people call that in Iowa. Makes it really difficult to get up to your feet off of your base. But Acevedo still fighting here on the edge of the mat. They'll go out again. 48 seconds left on this clock.
You mentioned that right there, Gallagher's on the right before he was on the left, so Gallagher's doing a good job of knowing which side that he should be putting the weight on, which leg he should be trapping. And right there, you see Gallagher go for the diamond and give Acevedo the 1 point.
This is going to be an escape for Acevedo, and so now they're back on their feet. Gallagher, it looks like, is really wanting to work some takedowns here. With the 3-point takedown, which this is the second season this has been implemented, you're seeing guys get to their feet a lot more to try to rack up those points, especially if they're not being successful in their turns. As Gallagher right here goes for a single, switches to a double, coming out the back. But Acevedo doing a really good job of diving for that ankle, trying to create some distance here. Well, Gallagher trying to isolate a leg, turn that corner. He's got the ankle trapped, which is going to help him isolate that side. But Acevedo doing a good job of getting his body in the right spots. It's really anyone's move right now. But that's going to do it for time. So a good little scramble position there for Acevedo. He's going to defer, so it's going to be Gallagher's choice going into the second period.
That was one of those positions where it looked like Dylan Acevedo was in a lot of trouble, and then when the clock was ending, they were both in a neutral position. Acevedo was able to work through that, was able to make sure that Max Gallagher didn't go through a backdoor, did a good job of wrapping his arm around his leg, and right there we saw Gallagher was on bottom and got the 1 point.
Yeah, quick escape for Gallagher to help move up his point total to 4-1 right now. Back on their feet, though.
Max Gallagher is a local, not from Nassau, but he is from Suffolk. He is from Blue Point, New York, which is right near the Bayport area. Gallagher in New York, he was a former state champion in 2022, and in his high school career posed a 152-12 record.
Yeah, this is a pretty close location-wise matchup for the Pride. Of course, University of Pennsylvania. Gallagher in on another shot here, starting to lift the leg on this beautiful single. And he'll trip Acevedo for the takedown there to put himself up 7-1. But as I was saying, Penn not too far away, just in Philly, where actually Nationals is going to be this season. So we'll see if the Pride is able to send some members of the wrestling team there at the end of March. But University of Pennsylvania, an Ivy League team, Hofstra, of course, in the EIWA, where the Ivies were last season. This is the first season where the Ivy League is having a separate conference championships, and so normally this would be a conference dual meet, but non-conference this season and going forward. But very familiar with this UPenn team. A lot of these guys have wrestled before, actually, in Contrera and McFarland back when they were the same weight class, wrestled a ton. So if you're familiar with these teams, you're seeing a lot of the same guys.
And something you brought up, UPenn is not in the EIWAs anymore. So this dual meet has everything to gain for these wrestlers and not as much to lose. A lot of these guys are ranked high in the rankings, and if they can pull out a victory, that can do wonders for them in the EIW rankings and give them better seeding positions to give them a higher chance at qualifying in nationals, to nationals.
Mm-hmm. So that's going to do it with the second period. Gallagher still up 7-1 over Acevedo. Acevedo is going to take bottom to start this third period, looking to get an escape and probably score some points of his own.
What we saw in the first period was Gallagher was giving Acevedo a really tough time on bottom. He was giving Acevedo no room to work, no room to escape. But then at the end of the period, he did decide to let Acevedo free, and he went for another takedown. Gallagher has had success on both the feet and on top, so right now it looks like he's electing to put pressure on Acevedo and try to get some back points.
Yeah, so he's going to put him, kind of an interesting move there, putting some pressure on Acevedo, seeing if he could set up a cradle or some sort of movement as Acevedo gets to his feet, but they're going to go out of bounds. Acevedo's going to still be on bottom because he never actually broke contact there to get the escape. So they're just getting reset here. But Gallagher's actually going to give Acevedo the escape, so that'll put him up 2-7. Gallagher's going to go for a takedown here and try to extend his score into major decision territory, where Acevedo's now, with the 3-point takedown, he really has room to work with this minute and 15 seconds left, actually.
And what we've seen from Gallagher, he's fast onto the legs, and again, right there, gets on legs, another backdoor position. Last time we saw these two in this position, it was close, but right now, Gallagher is able to get some back points off that backdoor position. Didn't get the takedown. There we go. Gallagher got the 3 points plus the extra 3 from the back points.
So there's a lot going on there. Gallagher got a point from Acevedo stalling. but then got the takedown from exposing the back and near fall points. Then Acevedo just got an escape, with Gallagher getting another takedown, and now Acevedo getting an escape. And so now we're going to be up 4-14. Gallagher really working for now a tech fall possibly as he puts Acevedo in this cradle from his feet. He's got him on his back here on the edge of the mat. About 25 seconds left. We'll see if he's able to do it. See if Acevedo can kick out of this, and he won't be able to. So it's going to be a pin for Max Gallagher, at 125 pounds to put the Quakers up 6-0 over the Pride. Man, Zach, he really turned it on in that last period.
There was a lot that went on there. Points are coming left, right, and center. We're saying Gallagher got a takedown here, gets back points here, takedown there, and 2 seconds later, Dylan Acevedo is flat on his back. Gallagher put on the pressure. Originally, in his mind, going for that major decision. The score is 7-2, and out of nowhere, 14-4. Acevedo on his back. A lot of action happened in that 30 seconds, but we move on to 133, where we will see Chase Liardi, who is a redshirt junior from Massapequa, New York, with a record of 10-8 this season. We'll be taking Ryan Miller, who is a senior from Strasburg, Pennsylvania, who has a record of 16-3 and is ranked 25 in the coaches' rankings and 21 in the intermat rankings.
Now, this is a really exciting matchup. This is the one I had circled because I think it's really a chance for Liardi to put himself ahead and really create some distance. He's been successful and had kind of shining moments, but he hasn't really beaten a ranked wrestler in quite some time, maybe at all in his Hofstra career, and so this would help move him up the rankings with a significant win, as Miller was an NCAA qualifier and placed third at EIWA's last season. So these two have probably wrestled somewhere in the past, or at least had a lot of common opponents. As Liardi took a shot there, but Miller doing a really good job of squaring up and dropping his hips, create some distance here. Still trying to break Liardi's grip, though, as Liardi's just holding onto that leg, starting to build up, doing a really good job of rising, getting to that single, trying to work here on the edge of the mat. But Miller's got a really solid whizzer, really weighing down, making it hard for Liardi to pick up that leg and get around. Kind of got his arm trapped here as he moves to the knee, starts to work outside here. Barely inside. There's still 1 point of contact, so they're still in. Miller starts to turn, square up a little bit more with Liardi. Liardi really trying to just keep his heel in here, and they will go out of bounds.
Liardi does a good job of not giving up on the takedown. There's positions in that where you're like, Ryan Miller, he's doing a good job sprawling there. It's been a tough position. Liardi pushed Ryan Miller into him, got his head to the outside, it made it really close. Then on the out, when they're at the edge of the mat, made sure his ankle is in, and then he used really good mat awareness. When he saw Ryan Miller put himself in a better position, he took his foot out, and now they're back to the center. And I want to touch on something you mentioned earlier with Chase Liardi, looking for that ranked win. I feel like the 10-8 record does not give Liardi credit to the type of wrestler he is. Again, he was coming off from injury last year, so to start the season, he wasn't his full self. Some of certain matches he lost that he probably could have picked up a victory. And there's a lot of matches this season that were very close that Liardi could have easily won. It was a takedown away. One of them that comes to my mind is the Citadel match. A very close one. They lost at the last second. So even though Liardi is 10-8, it doesn't give him credit to the type of wrestler he is.
Good flurry of attacks here as Miller gets in on a leg this time in that crackdown position. Liardi wrapping around the crotch, ready to throw Miller by, but Miller doing a good job of bundling the legs together and stepping over, and so he'll get the takedown. About 15 seconds left in this match, but they're going to call stalemate here and get reset with Liardi on bottom.
Good work from Ryan Miller. Basic double leg takedown, but that gets the points. That is 3 points for Ryan Miller, and there's 13 seconds left on the clock, so if Chase Liardi wants to get a point from this position, he got to get it done fast.
Taking a second to get reset here. Both guys kind of looking at their coaches. Jamie Franco, of course, in his first season as head coach with the Pride, but has a long history here, particularly with Liardi, who he helped coach in high school, and kind of is the reason why Liardi came back to Hofstra. Liardi spent a season at Ohio State. And then for Miller, Roger Rena just reached his 250th dual meet win with the Quakers. So a long history there as well. And so we're going to move to this second period. It looks like Miller's going to take bottom.
This is the first time we've seen Chase Liardi in quite a bit because he wasn't at the Bloomsburg duel, but we did see him at the Franklin and Marshall Open where Liardi had a great performance, getting 5 different victories. So Liardi has picked things up. Again, started the season out a little slow, a little mat rust, but as of late, Liardi has been looking like the best version of himself. So he's looking for that big ranked victory that he's been looking for all season.
Liardi was really working on that left side, but Miller able to get hand control and set out and turn away to get the escape here, bring him up to 4 points. Liardi now on his feet. We saw that he was the first one to attack, the first one to initiate and try to attempt a takedown, and so we'll see he's able to do that again against Miller. Nice little duck under attempt, trying to get in close. Now Miller takes a shot in on the leg. Quick finish, trying to come out the back door. Trying to crack down Liardi. Liardi did a great job of trying to fight there, but Miller is really in on that leg all the way up on the thigh. So that makes it really difficult for Liardi to create any space and get away. And so that's going to be another takedown for Miller, bring it up 7-0.
Liardi went for that duck under attempt, and Miller did a good job of knowing the situation. And from that attempt, he was able to get a nice underhook, which he was able to use on the shot. So from one sequence to another, a really beautiful takedown from Ryan Miller, and now he increased the score to 7-0.
Miller now trying to get to Liardi's wrist and move that onto his back as he's really far on this side. It's going to be a stall warning on Liardi because he hasn't really been moving on bottom, but he's trying to avoid this arm bar, which Miller has, which just is going to try to move that shoulder over. This is a really tough position to fight. You have to do what Liardi's doing here, where you build up to your base and try to get your hips under you. But this is a really tough spot, really painful on that shoulder. But we're going to get to the end of the second period here. It's going to be Liardi's choice. So he's going to take neutral and try to get that takedown that he looked for at the beginning of the match.
Liardi did a good job of squeezing down the arm, making sure that Gallagher couldn't run that armbar there. And we know that Liardi can get on the legs. He was very close in that first period, in that first real sequence. Again, goes for a shot from far, and Gallagher is able to take advantage of that. No points awarded just yet, as Liardi does have the hands underneath the crotch, but Miller did a good job of taking advantage of the situation.
And that is going to be a takedown for Miller, who's going to let Liardi up here, try to extend this score. Right now, Miller's winning by major decision, but 3-point takedown, it's still anyone's match, really. Liardi took that shot, but he wasn't able to back away quite quick enough as Miller's in on a leg again. Really has Liardi extended here. Working up the leg, up the body. Climbing Liardi, trying to get a whizzer in, but he just isn't really getting that angle. And so it's going to be we'll see if they award it now. Should have been another takedown awarded. It was. Okay. So now it's 13-2. Miller narrowing in on technical fall territory. So
what I've noticed from Ryan Miller this matchup is that he's very fast on the feet, but he's very tactical when he shoots. You've seen every time he has gone in on the legs, he has been rewarded with 3 points. He knows when to capitalize on a takedown. So before, he likes to capitalize right after Chase Liardi does a movement. Right there, Liardi went for a shot. He went reshoot, got the takedown. Liardi went for a duck under, reshot a few seconds later, and got the takedown. So we've seen Ryan Miller be very aware of situations, see when Liardi is a little bit vulnerable, and go for the takedowns. And right again, there again, another takedown from Ryan Miller, and he's pretty close to getting another 3 points on the board.
And that's going to do it. That's going to be a win by tech fall for Ryan Miller. And so that's going to put the Quakers up 11-0 over the Pride. But Zach, you were so right that Miller was really able to see those opening spots and where Liardi had left some openings and left himself vulnerable, taking a shot off of Liardi's shot. I don't want to. I want to say that it's smart wrestling, which is a little bit funny from an Ivy League school, but it's so fitting. We're going to move on now to 141 pounds.
Yes, at 141 pounds, we have Justin Hoyle of the Pride, who is a graduate student from Maple Valley, and he has a record of 8-7 this season, and he will be taking on CJ Composto, who is a senior from Westfield, New Jersey, who has a record of 15-3 and is ranked number 12 in the coaches poll and number 9 in Intermat.
Hoyle kind of working this arm bundle here. Sometimes he likes to go upper body, but Composto is going to do a good job of avoiding that and getting out of that kind of wrapped up position. Hoyle, one of the captains this year for the Pride, is in his 6th year after coming back from injury that really took him out for pretty much the whole season last year. It was really tough to come back from, but he's looked solid, just improving every match. And so he's really looking to get a ranked win here and help set himself up for success in the postseason, which is rapidly approaching.
It is rapidly approaching, and that has been a lifelong goal of Justin Hoyle. It's something he's talked about before, is making it to nationals. Last year was such a bummer for him that he wasn't able to compete, but he's trying to take advantage of everything he can in his 6th year with the Pride, and of course his goal is to make it to nationals.
Talk about someone who's made it to nationals. Composto is an NCAA qualifier after placing at the EIW Championships. He placed 3rd last season, so he's really familiar with what it takes to get there. He was actually an NCAA All-American, so he placed 8th at the tournament in 2022, and so he definitely knows what it takes to get there.
And as you mentioned, he is improving with every matchup, and he has won his last 3 matchups. Or, excuse me, last 2, because the Bloomsburg matchup, he did get a forfeit, but he was able to beat Nathan Lucier from Binghamton, who is a very tough opponent, 4-2. And then in Morgan State, he beat Marion Nixon via pinfall. So 2 big victories there for Justin Hoyle.
So no takedowns yet, but both guys have been really active on their feet. Except for we're going to get a stall warning and a point awarded to Composto. Referees indicating that Hoyle has kind of taken a backseat in this match, which I wouldn't say is accurate, as Hoyle's now trying to set up a Russian and on his attack, but he has kind of been the one backing out, not controlling the center as much, so I can see why the referee would say that. But back in this neutral position, little shot by Composto coming out the back, taking down Hoyle from behind on the legs. So that was a quick little shot and takedown to put him up 4-0.
Yeah, it was a good takedown from Composto. I was surprised he didn't climb the ladder a little earlier, because it gave Hoyle a few seconds to try to see where his position is, but he's still able to get 3 points there. 10 seconds left on the clock, and it seems like that will do it point-wise for the first period.
Yeah, Hoyle not really trying to build to his feet here, just stay in that position. So Hoyle's going to defer. It's going to be Composto's choice. He'll take bottom to start this second period.
We mentioned how Justin Hoyle was on a 3-match win streak, but as the same case for CJ Composto. He beat Kai Owen of Columbia, Cole Brooks of Wyoming, and Jordan Soriano of Drexel, who is a Nassau County familiar. He used to wrestle at Clark High School, so someone from the area that currently wrestles at Drexel. So those are 3 impressive victories for CJ Composto going into this matchup.
Yeah, so the University of Pennsylvania, they just took on Columbia, who Hofstra faced not too long ago themselves. Of course, UPenn, it was in Ivy League action where they won just 24-20 and actually had some of their guys upset by the Lions, and so, which is interesting because Hofstra had an upset of their own over Columbia, so lots of back and forth there, of course. This is a non-conference meet, but still guys who are really familiar being so close in the area. Back to this, though. Composto got the escape and is now working for another takedown on Justin Hoyle, but Hoyle still locked around the body, and so no takedown. yet, as Composer's trying to turn the corner here. He's got one leg, trying to bundle up both legs. Hoyle still locked on the crotch. A lot of the Hofstra wrestlers getting stuck in this position today, as it's going to be a takedown to put him up 8-0 here. Like I was saying, a lot of the Hofstra wrestlers getting kind of stuck in this position. Kind of unusual to see so many guys in the same spot, but the Quakers are really good at finishing from that crackdown position.
Yeah, it kind of just shows what is worked in the UPenn room. And something I saw CJ Caposto do there is he was in a very awkward position and did whatever he could to get those points. He did like this weird little cartwheel flip to get to the other side. So good work from CJ Caposto. Just keep grinding out, keep pushing forward to get the points. And we just saw him there get an additional 3 back points, and he increased the score to 12-0.
Yeah, that was a nice little just cheap tilt, really basic. Nothing too crazy here, but when you're as good as these guys are, you make it look really easy.
The score is 12-0 right now, and it looks like he is on the way for getting another tech fall if Hoyle can't get some more points on the board. We knew this was going to be a tough matchup for the Pride. We didn't know it was going to be all tech falls and pins so far. Of course, a lot of matchups to go. And a few ranked wrestlers for the Pride to still compete. So you'd like to get the Pride, get some more points on the board later in the matchups.
Yeah, so that's going to do it for the second period. It's going to be Hoyle's choice. He's going to take bottom, and so he has to be really careful to not get turned here. But actually, Composto is going to give him the escape to start neutral. And so he's one takedown away from beating Hoyle, win by technical fall. As for Hoyle, he needs this takedown.
He definitely does need that takedown. And I'm surprised CJ Caposto let him up, especially that he was so dominant on top. But again, what we saw in the Liardi match, we see these Quakers doing a good job of re-shooting off of sloppy shots from the Pride. And now Caposto put Hoyle in a cradle, and now Hoyle's in a dangerous position, but he was able to flip out of it, and there's another tech fall.
That's going to do it. It's going to be an 18-1 victory for CJ Caposto, continuing his streak and the Quakers' lead as they are now 16-0 against the Pride today.
But that does do it for 141, and we move on to 149, where we will see the Pride's very own Noah Tapia, who is a sophomore from Illinois, and has a record of 10-9 this season, and will be taking on Cross Rezalinki, who is a freshman from New Jersey and has a record of 13-3. He is ranked number 17 in both the coaches and the Intermat rankings.
And immediately, Noah Tapia's headgear falls off. Not quite how you want to start the match, but Tapia, a guy who in his sophomore season is still looking really solid for the Pride. He and Liardi were tied for the team lead with 10 wins each. Only his second year out on the mat as a true sophomore. Of course, Wazelinski, freshman, so true freshman here. But both guys have a lot of experiences in their own states, as Wazelinski is going to get a really quick takedown here and get right to Tapia's arms, using a head lever here to break Tapia down and make it really difficult for him to get to his feet. But some quickness by Tapia to sit out there, try to build up. Pretty unusual that we see Tapia give up the takedown, as he's normally the initiator there.
Wazelinki, very good right there. Was able to put his hands through the crotch, a mat return. And you mentioned that Tapia, let's go to the action right here, because Wazelinki, in a very weird position, was able to lift Tapia up. And now he's looking for back points off this really unorthodox position.
That was more of a freestyle kind of movement, trapping the legs and trying to just expose the back. Of course, for folk style, you have to hold them there to get that near fall count. It's not just exposure, which is interesting because that's normally how I would describe Tapia's style, as a little bit more freestyle heavy. But he's going to get the escape here to bring it to 3-1 right now, but Wazelinski's going to be really quick to get to the legs there. That was a really easy takedown from him. Tapia didn't really fight too hard there. His defense was just kind of nothing. So Wazlinski back on top here, 6-1 now, right on the edge of the mat with a cheap tilt again. So the Quakers are really taking it to the Pride today, but that's going to be, see how many near fall. No near fall awarded for that tilt, but he's still on that arm, so we'll see if he uses that again.
Yeah, that takedown looked as easy as it could be for Wazlinski, and it's probably one of those that Tapia's going to rewatch, and he's probably going to wish he didn't give that up so easily, but now Tapia's building to his base, trying to work there, but another cheap tilt from Wazlinski, but this time it looks like he will be getting some points awarded as the two go out of bounds.
So that's going to be 4 points of near fall, bring up 10-1 just in this first period. There's still 38 seconds. This is not how I thought this match was going to go, Zach.
No, not at all. Wazlinski is wrestling a very similar match that you would expect from Noah Tapia too, but he's just doing it at a different level.
Of course, he is ranked 16 in the country. He was a 3-time New Jersey State place winner, so coming in with a lot of experience for being a freshman, but Tapia just trying to get any points on the board at this point as Wazlinski's using that head lever again to really pressure Tapia's shoulder and bring his head down on the mat. That makes it really hard for him to build up to a base. He's also got the leg hooked here, so making it extra difficult. A little cross-face attempt there as we're getting towards the end of this first period. So your score 10-1. It's going to be Tapia's choice. Discussing with the coaches right now. He's going to take bottom.
Tapia was able to get an escape early on in the match, but then we saw him struggle on bottom. I feel like the story for today for the Pride has been they are having problems on bottom. They can't really seem to get out, and UPenn is taking advantage of that. They are getting points. They're tilting the Pride quite often, and they're getting 3 points, 4 points. We saw in the Acevedo match off the cradle that they got a pin. So Pride needs to figure out a way to counteract this and be able to stand up, get reversals, and get some points on the board for themselves.
Wazlinski with the arm bar now, going to try to turn Tapia with that. That's a really hard position to get out of as he's got him on his back here, trying to hold him here for the exposure. Got 2 off of that turn. Make that 3. Bring that to 13-1. Tapia looking for a reversal here. Working through. He's got to the leg. He's got to get up the body, but he'll just get an escape there. Let's put it up 2-13. Quick shot here. Try to narrow that score back down. He's on the leg, but they're going to go out of bounds. Get back on their feet here. So good work by Tapia, saying, okay, I'm going to concede this near fall point, but still in it. Going to get that reversal, going to get back to my feet, or excuse me, work for the reversal, end up back on the feet to help narrow the distance a little bit more. Then he gets stuck in this position again. A cradle is locked up, trying to kick out of it, but that's a tough spot. And he's got Tapia on his back, and that's going to be another pin for the Quakers. So it's going to bring the team score to 22-0. It's crazy how it has been the same few moves.
The Quakers came to compete today. They've looked very impressive on that sequence there. You saw Noah Tapia try to flip Wazlinski over him, but it ended up just being a fall position for him. But we will move on to 157, where we will see Jarius Clark, who is a redshirt sophomore from Blackwood, New Jersey, with a record of 8-10 this season, taking on Jude Swisher, who is a sophomore from State College, Pennsylvania, has a record of 16-5, and again, another ranked wrestler, ranked number 21 in the coaches ranking, and ranked number 24 in Intermat.
So both of these guys placed at the EIWAs last season. Clark placing 7th and Swisher placing 5th. So we'll see if Clark can get the ranked win here today and put some points on the board for the Pride. As a nice little slide by to a single there. Really quick movements by Clark there. That's kind of what he's known for, is these spurts of action. So trying to get this match started off quick.
I feel like one of the stories for Clark this season is he finds himself in some very close matchups. His last matchup in Bloomsburg against William Morrow, he got the victory 3-2 in extra time. So we can see Clark taking an opponent that is ranked and making this a very close matchup instead of what we've seen earlier tonight, which has been not close at all for the Pride. But we're talking about being quick. That was a quick takedown from Swisher. Now he is in on the leg and in the crouch and trying to bring it back up to try to treetop it.
And a big kick there from Swisher to get the takedown and clear Clark's leg. Yeah, that is something we see from Clark, is he goes to these overtime matches a lot more than the other guys on the team, because he's just able to keep it really close. Not necessarily always a good thing, because that means he's not always putting points on the board. But he can normally stick with a guy no matter the level. But getting set in this armbar here, talked about Penn doing a lot of the same moves, and they're extremely effective. And so they definitely are practicing these positions over and over in the room. It's going to be a stall warning on Clark there, because he wasn't really building up, but now he's starting to. It's really hard to when you have that armbar, though. So Swisher going to go for a tilt here. He's getting some points here. The back exposure. So if you're the guy on bottom, the best thing you can do with an armbar is, well, don't get stuck in the armbar. But don't you love it when coaches say that? But the other thing you could do is grab your hip and hip down on that side to try to create some pressure there so that the other guy isn't able to move you there. So Clark tried that, but Swisher clearly is strong, as he's got this. Went for a crossface here, but Clark just trying to hold onto that wrist, which is not the worst position. If you can post that wrist in front of you, it's really helpful to get hand control and build up from bottom. But Clark tends to kind of hang his head on bottom and not be the most active, so not too surprising that he's going to end this period on bottom. 7-0 right now. Jude Swisher in the lead.
Something we've seen from you Penns, you're doing a lot of these tilts. And if you're someone like Russ McFarland and Kyle Mosher who hasn't wrestled yet, that's something just to keep in mind watching these matchups, that a lot of these UPenn wrestlers are doing a lot of the same moves. So it's just something to keep in mind for the later matchups.
Swisher's going to get another takedown here after they started in neutral for the second period. So it's a tough spot for Clark. The other thing that you have to keep in mind if you're, well, Swisher's working for a tech fall or a pin right now, but if you're Clark, you also have to keep in mind this riding time is adding up, as Swisher's at just about 2 minutes here as they get to their feet. Just under 2 minutes, but Clark's going to get the escape here. If you're Clark, though, you got to think that any time on your feet is a gift, because it puts you in this 50-50 theoretically, but Swisher heavy with this front headlock here, going to bring Clark down to the mat pretty easily, starting to circle around. See if he uses this in on a single. Big lift! Almost put Clark straight on his head, but that's going to be a takedown here.
That could have been very dangerous right there. Or he might have actually got hurt in that position.
Yeah, so the trainer's going to come out and check on Clark there. That extremely dangerous position. If this was a high school match, you would have stopped that immediately. Really dangerous for not only the head, but the neck and the back. So training staff's going to come out and check on Clark here.
This is a very unfortunate position, but we see some movements from Clark, as before he was not moving at all. So it's good to see that he is moving in some way, some stance, as he's building up to his knees. In a way, the crowd is clapping for Clark after a very dangerous position. The head and neck area is an area you don't want to mess with at all, so it's good to see some movements from Clark, and we'll see if he's able to continue this matchup.
Yeah, this is a tough one where it's a non-conference competition, and so you're thinking, like, if I'm hurt, maybe you don't finish this match. You're already down a lot. They're going to take him off the mat here. At least do some concussion protocol. There's mats, but they aren't that soft, and you're going to see some. Believe it or not, they are not that soft. So they're going to take him off and at least do that. And so we'll see if we come back. But like you were saying, Zach, UPenn really successful with a lot of the same moves. And so if you are Kyle Mosher, who's going to be next in line for the Pride, or you're Ross McFarland later down the lineup, start taking some notes. Of course, these guys have already kind of scouted each other out, familiar. Like we said, Mosher and McFarland are two of the oldest guys on this team, and they're also two guys who've been in this conference. Mosher, of course, is a transfer this year, but wrestled at Columbia, and so very familiar with UPenn. McFarland, familiar. He's wrestled Nick Incontrera, who's still at 174, back when Ross McFarland was 174 before moving up to 184 this season. So very familiar with these guys and their styles and what they kind of bring to the mat.
Yeah, it's going to be a very interesting matchup as we look at 165, which will be next. And this is a matchup that should be in the Pride's favor. It's one of the few wrestlers from UPenn that isn't ranked in any Trosnicki. And Kyle Mosher ranked 31st in the coach's ranking, 32nd in the intermat. And Clark is coming back as we see it. We will see if this matchup continues. If I'm the Pride, I wouldn't risk it personally with a 13-1, but it looks like he is coming back out there to compete. So we'll see what Clark can bring to the table.
So who's going to take him back out? It looks like Clark. It's a little bit of blood. They'll clean that up, but good to see that he is okay, walking on his own,
yes,
moving, as the Pride really needs someone at 157.
Yes. Great sign of sportsmanship from Swisher. Goes to shake Clark's hand. Now let's see if this sparks a bit of urgency from Clark. Big
mat return there from Swisher. Still up 13-1, 45 seconds remaining in the second period. We're going to have stop for blood again. But as we were just talking about the rankings, the first coaches poll rankings came out recently. So Kyle Mosher ranked 28th by the coaches poll, and Ross McFarland coming in at 30th, which is flip-flopped from their flow rankings, where Mosher is ranked 31st and McFarland 26th. And so the coaches clearly see something in Mosher and see something in both of these guys, which is really exciting for the Pride as they try to send some guys to the national championships, even if they aren't able to place at EIWA's that out-large bid. That's, of course, how Jacob Ferreira got there last season. And so good to keep increasing the rankings through ranked matchups like this one.
And we see the two are back in action. Clark fast on the whistle and gets the 1 point. Now, despite the score and throughout the matchup at every position, Clark is very hot on his feet, ready to go. It looks like he's very energized, and that was even before the big break. So let's see if Clark could get another takedown. Again, could be a little more motivated right now. There could be some fire under Clark after that giant slam to his head. So we'll see what Clark can do. But there's a short time left in the second period, 5 seconds left. So we'll see what's going to happen in the third period.
So that's going to do it. Some renewed urgency in Clark as they're going to take neutral again.
Clark didn't even look to the coaches to ask them what they wanted. Went straight to that line.
Nice little slide-by attempt to a shot there from Clark, but wasn't really close to the body. He tends to take shots from kind of some space, or like he's working now, getting really close and getting it in this kind of flurry of, is it a throw, is it a takedown, who really knows. But Swisher doing a good job of battling through and pressuring Clark on the edge of the mat. Controlling the center here. Heavy on the head, but Clark trying to get some underhooks, create some offense here. Swisher on the leg, though, lifting from the crotch. So if he brings Clark down here, get another takedown in on the single, coming across. See if he tries to elevate around the pike here. Really good defense from Clark there, making it really difficult as Swisher's now just hanging on the leg on this edge of the mat. Now breaking Clark down, trying to climb the body. But they're going to go out, and that's going to be no takedown.
No points award there. And you saw Swisher going for another big slam, and you see him do that a lot. On the takedowns, the mat returns. Swisher's a strong guy for this 157 weight class, and he used his strength to his advantage and didn't get to take down the previous attempt, but 3 points right there for Swisher. Under 30 seconds left on the clock, he's going to let Clark up, and he's going to try hopefully get another takedown, and it's not mine. But Clark is going to do his best here. With a 13-point differential, a takedown would be the tech fall, so 10 seconds left to prevent that.
Yeah, really short time here. Swisher in on an attack, but Clark is really flattened out, making it really difficult for him. And so he's going to hold on and make this a loss by major decision, 17-3 for Swisher. And so that's going to bring the Quakers score up to 26-0 over the Pride. But a really good fight from Clark. They're coming back from what could have been a very serious injury to keep it close against Swisher.
Again, hopefully Clark is okay from that, but we will move on to 165. From Hofstra, we have Kyle Mosher, who's a graduate student from Rockville Center, New York, right around the corner, and this season he has a 9-8 record. His opponent, Andy Trosnicki, who's a junior from Clark, New Jersey, who has a 5-5 record. Back to Mosher, he is ranked this season number 31 in the coaches ranking, number 32 in the intermat rankings. Once again, this is the first matchup that the Pride has someone ranked and UPenn does not.
Nice little tie up there. Mosher trying to work to some sort of offense that he likes, maybe a Russian, or nice little slide by to a Russian here. Went for the trip. Didn't quite commit to it, but probably smart. Mosher doing a good job of creating some motion there on his feet with some level changes and some quick steps. He's looked really solid this season with the Pride. A big pickup from Columbia, of course. Grad student transfer here as Trozinski's going to get in on the leg here, but Mosher going to try to set up a Jonesy tilt. He's favored by Dylan Ryder last season, and he gets it. And so he's going to have Trozinski exposed on his back here. So he's going to get the takedown and 4 near fall points. So it's going to put him up 7-0. Mosher quick to work here. Going to let Trozinski up to his feet, though, with an escape to make it 7-1 halfway through this first period.
This is the first time today, that we've seen the Pride in the lead in any matchup. And there's a big lead right now for Kyle Mosher with a 6-point advantage. You saw Kyle Mosher at the end of that sequence trying to throw legs there, but Trosnicki was able to get the escape and get the 1 point.
Yeah, that tilt that Mosher used was really popular with Dylan Ryder last season. That's how he won a lot of his matches, because it's just such a great combo if you can get it. But we have seen Mosher try to set it up and not be so successful, so it's a little bit of a risk. But he's looked really solid as he gets to this beautiful takedown here for 3 more points to put on the board. But Hofstra's really calling on their more experienced guys, their more competitive guys, to put some points on the board to create a little bit less of a deficit.
Yeah, Kyle Mosher did a good job sweeping his body there. Go for the double leg. A beautiful takedown from him. And we were mentioning this kind of earlier. A lot of the guys have started the season slow and have progressed as we moved on. Kyle Mosher had a slow start to the season and a lot of victories as of late.
Yeah, Mosher's really big win was over former teammate from Columbia, who was also ranked, so we got the upset there to help push him along into the rankings. But been a really great pickup. Came with Jamie Franco, spent a season at Columbia before coming back here to coach for the Pride, and he brought Mosher with him. Mosher, a local, so
Yes.
also very familiar with Franco, very familiar with these guys. A lot of New Jersey, New York guys in between these two teams here, so pretty big crowd here today with both teams. Nice little mat return there from Trzynski to start this second period on top.
You did mention that Kyle Mosher is a local, and he's competed a lot in this Hofstra area. Competed at the David S. Mack Arena in high school, getting himself some county championships, advancing to states where he eventually became a state champion. So Kyle Mosher is a very credentialed wrestler in the New York area.
Mosher working to his feet here, trying to control hands. Trzynski doing a good job of trying to get a mat return towards the edge of the circle here. Still 1 point in. Mosher's trying big mat return attempt, but Mosher did a really good job of hooking with his toes and making that difficult. See if he's able to get hand control here while they're on the mat. Trzynski cannot lock his hands in this position, so it's really ideal for you to, if you're the guy on bottom, to try to control the hands. So Mosher's doing this kind of an interesting setup here. He's got Trzynski's head and then had the leg, so if he had been able to turn into that enough, he could have gotten a reversal and some back exposure there. But the one thing I'm not so sure on Kyle Mosher's style is he likes to reach back.
Yes.
And it's normally when he feels a head or an arm exposed, especially in that sit-out position, which is good. That's something that you see all sort of guys working. If you're the guy on bottom and someone hangs a head or an arm, you want to use that. It's a gift. But I feel like Mosher reaches back
Yes.
a little bit, a lot. He's normally successful in the position, but I don't know how Jamie Franco feels about
Yeah,
it.
he has a very unorthodox and funky way of wrestling. One of the earlier sequences, I thought he was in a position where he could have went for like a headlock, which is one of those positions that some coaches tell you not to go for at all. This could be something that's very risky. He ended up not doing that anyways, but very unorthodox. There's a lot of moves that you don't see your normal wrestler do, but it does work for him. So it might not be your standard for wrestling, but Kyle Mosher, a very credentialed wrestler, and he makes his style work for him. Right now, Trzynski, his headgear fell off, and it's taking quite a while to put that back on, but they're back to the center of the mat. 38 seconds left in the second. Kyle Mosher is up 11-1.
So back to some hand fighting here, but we're going to pause again. It looks like Mosher just got hit in the eye. Shake that off.
Yeah, eye pokes are not fun. Seems like something simple until you get poked in the eye. Quick show of sportsmanship there. Trzynski went for the handshake, and they're back to action.
Good level changes here. So Mosher takes a shot at Trzynski quick to the sprawl. Both have an underhook here, but neither guy really trying to build up as we get towards the end of this second period. Really short time here. So moving into this third period, it's going to be Trzynski's choice. He's going to take neutral to try to put some of those points on the board. But for Mosher, this is a great spot to be. If he can get the takedown and some near fall, he'll get that win by tech fall, or possibly wanting to work for a pin. But see here.
We mentioned that UPenn only a few hours away, and there's quite a big UPenn crowd here. You see a lot of people in the crowd cheering on Andy Trzynski. But as we say that, both of the wrestlers have an ankle, trying to both go back door, but Kyle Mosher turns in and gets another 3 points, advancing the score to 14-1.
Yeah, he won that, what could have been a 50-50 position just by getting his hips high, getting his head high, and really just winning that position. Now on top, 14-1. See if he's going to let Trzynski up. Yeah, so he's going to let him up, so that's going to be an escape point, but that means that Mosher is one takedown away from the tech fall as he goes for a duck under to an attack, but Trzynski's going to get him in the front headlock here. See what Mosher decides to do, if he just backs out or if he's able to pull on the arm and get around or duck under, kind of get through that corner. It's going to be a stalemate, and so they're both just going to go reset on neutral here. 45 seconds on the clock.
So Mosher go for that duck under attempt a little far away from his opponent, so it was pretty unlikely to hit it. But as we say that, now Trzynski is in on the leg. And now if he can scoot his legs up, he can try to go back door, but they're both doing a good job of wrapping their hands around the leg to prevent each opponent to get a point.
Mosher trying to be really methodical here, working one thing at a time. Trzynski's head is down, but he's still got Mosher's leg, and so it's not a takedown for either guy yet. You got to watch on the knee, though, here for Mosher. But that's going to do it for this match, and so Kyle Mosher's going to come away with the win by major decision. 14-2 riding time, not a factor, so he's going to finally put the Pride on the board. 26-4 is the team score right now.
I feel like if Kyle Mosher had a few more seconds left on the clock, he could have got that 3 points. Did a good job of jumping his left leg over Trzynski's head, and he was so close. Trzynski basically just had an ankle there. If he had some more time to work, kick that ankle out, good chance he could have got 3 points, but didn't. Only 4 points for the Pride. We move on to 174, where we will see Matthew Waddell taking on Nick Incontrera. Waddell, he's a freshman, redshirt freshman from Georgia this season, posting a 2-5 record. Nick Incontrera, he's a senior from Flemington, New Jersey, with a 14-3 record, and he's ranked very high in the rankings, ranked number 7 in both the coaches and Intermat rankings.
Yeah, Incontrera is a very serious wrestler. NCAA qualifier, placed 6th at the EIWA tournament last season. So this is kind of a really tough matchup for Waddell, but the thing with wrestling these ranked guys is it's a really great opportunity for the Pride. I know last season when they took on NC State, Ohio State, Penn State, it's kind of like, man, these guys cannot have any success. But what's beautiful about going against ranked guys is that if you're able to get the upset, to get some points on the board, that really says something about where you're at, and kind of gets you some national attention, frankly, which is really important when you're looking for at-large bids and some of these rankings. So while you can look at it as, oh man, this is going to be really tough, it's also a really great opportunity. So Waddell taking quite a few shots there and some takedown attempts, but Incontrera on the front headlock, and he's going to work around and get behind Waddell here. He's going to get the takedown here and going for some back points. It's going to be 4 near fall. Make it 7-0 for Incontrera. He's going to go for another tilt here. But Waddell's adjusting. Good job of working out of that and getting to a base on the edge of the mat here.
Well, they'll try to flip himself over, try reverse position, but Nick Incontrera did a good job of knowing his position. The Pride have faced a lot of tough opponents this season and last season, and in their results, it does result in a lot of losses, but we take these losses as learning experiences. Even though the score is not the brightest right now for the Pride, each and every single wrestler is learning a lot from these matchups and improves from these losses.
So this is at 174 pounds, where Ross McFarland had kind of been the starter for the Pride for pretty much all of his seasons here at Hofstra before moving up to 184 pounds this season. So you'll see him in the next match. But that has kind of left this opening where we've seen quite a few guys kind of start here. Seems like Waddell has kind of been the go-to as of late. So kind of filling in a tough spot where maybe he wasn't quite ready to step into those shoes. But I liked the offense that we were seeing at the beginning. He's just a little outmatched by Incontrera here, who's getting some back points to move the score up to 11-0. Contura has that leg hooked, pressuring on Waddell's head, getting to the arm again. Short time in this first period, though.
We mentioned earlier that Columbia hosted a few upsets in their last duel against Penn, and one of them was against Nick Incontrera. Jack Miguel of Columbia was able to pull a 14-3 major decision over Incontrera, so that was a big upset Columbia was able to pull off, but he's having a great season. And Nick Incontrera himself, obviously ranked number 7, but a big win over Ohio's Garrett Thompson. A big win over Josiah Queen of Drexel. So there's a lot of big names that he has taken down this season.
Yeah, and so Incontrera is going to get another takedown to bring it to 14-0 right now. Waddell just unable to get any points on the board here, as Incontrera is just going to keep working on top to try to go for that tech fall or pin once again. He's got Waddell doing a really good job of not of staying active on bottom and not letting Incontrera really take control. Kind of worming his way out of positions, working his fundamentals, head up, hands out front, controlling the hands, getting your hips under you. But pretty tough task for Waddell here. Incontrera trying to get to an arm on the edge of the mat, so they're going to get reset in the center once again.
Even though Waddell is down 14 and Nick Incontrera has basically taken over this match. As you mentioned, there's a lot of positives that we've seen from Waddell in this matchup that you can take away and be proud of.
Incontrera trying another turn there, but like we said, Waddell, really good job just fighting on his back. Or fighting to get off his back, I should say. But Incontrera coming out in front to really try to pull on the arm here. Get Waddell to build up to his base. Pulling on that arm, but Waddell up on his feet now. Trying a really solid front headlock though. He's gonna do it for the second period, so 14. They awarded the referee indicated a point was being awarded, but then it wasn't awarded. So still 14-0 in neutral to start this third period.
Now let's see if Waddell can look for anything on top and goes for a forward roll there, but Nick Incontrera is in a good position.
And if he can expose the back here, he'll get the takedown or just work around for a finish. Waddell on a leg though. See if he's able to do anything with it. Really tough spot though. So that's going to be another win by technical fall for Pennsylvania. So moving the team score up to 31-4. But this is kind of the match of the night coming up here, Zach. Now you're excited.
Yes, this was the matchup that I circled. Ross McFarland has looked great this season, and he's ranked number 26 in the coaches' rankings. He's a graduate student from Pennsylvania, New York, with a 94 record this season. Ross McFarland has picked up a lot of big victories, but so is Maximus Hale. He's a senior from Westchester, Pennsylvania, and has accumulated a 15-4 record, ranked number 18 in the coaches' ranking, 21 intermat. So ranking-wise, this is the closest matchup we will see today. So expect no tech falls or pins here. Expect a very close and tight matchup. You saw McFarland slam the mat there, and Hale reacted pretty fast. So McFarland's getting Hale moving, using his feints to try to find some options, some openings, and see where he can take control in this matchup.
Last season, Hale placed 8th at the EIWA Championships, but then secured an at-large bid to the NCAA Championships. So he's made that trip that McFarland, this is his 6th year at Hofstra, And just like Justin Hoyle, the goal has always been qualify for nationals, make it to nationals, place at nationals, win. So we'll see if he's able to make that happen, but he's had a couple of really good wins this season. He's been in the rankings for quite a few weeks now, and so that's a really good, that's where you want to be, is getting that national attention, getting the coaches' minds, because just like how Hale was able to qualify, at-large bids are an option, but McFarland's looking to get it done at anyways in about, I want to say it's 40-something days or something like that. It's coming up quick. But
Yes.
one match at a time here as the two are just kind of hand-fighting, kind of locked up. Verlin trying to break out of some wrist control there by Hale. Hale with a shot at McFarland. Easy sprawl. Get that distance back. McFarland really not liking when Hale locks onto his hands there. Likes having control as he gets to an underhook here. It's an attempt at a throw by to an ankle or a single or something there. So some offense from McFarland, but really being deliberate here. Taking good shots, looking for openings, not forcing anything.
We mentioned that this is going to be a close matchup, past 2 minutes in, and no points awarded just yet for either wrestlers. Both now at 0 apiece. So both are being very tactical. We're not seeing the fastest action in the world right there. Hale goes for a takedown. Great sprawl by McFarland, and once again, back in neutral position.
McFarland doing a really good job of staying low, controlling the center of the mat. A couple of fakes there. Checking his distance.
You can feel the tension in the building. I feel like if you look at the crowd, everyone's just staring at the matchup. Everyone's quiet. They know the stakes of this matchup. A victory here would be big for both wrestlers. Again, we're talking about this will progress McFarland in the rankings, but this is also a ranked opponent for Max Hale, so this could progress him as well. So a big matchup for both these guys, and both of them are going to try to prevent as little mistakes as possible.
So Hale's going to take bottom and start this second period. McFarland covering. We're going to have a caution here on Hale. Started a little too quick. So we're going to reset here. Start off. Hale really quick to his feet, but a big mat return by McFarland. Hale doesn't quite have the escape yet because McFarland has followed, did a really good job of, it looked like Hale broke the contact, but McFarland chased him down, got to that ankle, never broke contact actually, and so he'll stay on top.
That was phenomenal work from McFarland. Got a little scary there as Hale is close to getting hit on the head, like we saw earlier. Of course, don't want that, but McFarland did a great job. I assumed Hale was about to get the 1 point, but McFarland did a great job of following right behind him and preventing any point for Hale.
That's going to be a caution on Hale there, and then the referee telling McFarland how to get set with Hale's leg out. Kind of a unique starting position, but not overly unique. Hale just used it to help him get to his feet a little bit easier. McFarland really heavy on the side. Now he's going to try to mat return Hale again. Slams him down. Does a really good job of maintaining that control. Now working for a wrist here on top. The Hofstra bench is really into this match. Hale back on his feet, but McFarland drops to the crotch. Was going to try to lift again, but Hale able to get out for the escape. Jamie Franco telling McFarland, you got to go. Let's pick up the pace.
Both Jamie Franco and Reyna from Penn, both going to edge mat, both cupping their hands, both yelling at the wrestlers. Again, we mentioned this is going to be the closest matchup, and the tension is real. You see the Pride bench cheering on McFarland after every move. Penn's bench cheering on Hale after every move.
Hale keeps doing this thing where he interlocks his fingers with McFarland, which McFarland really doesn't like. He's having to shake out of that as they're in this again. McFarland's got an underhook. He'll drop down to the elbow there. Work for the underhook again. Kind of a lot of hand fighting for McFarland, who generally doesn't like getting tied up that much. Little fake there by Hale to get McFarland to move. Another fake. Hale in on a leg. McFarland diving for the ankle, putting himself in a dangerous position, but he gets the leg. Hale trying to lift and turn McFarland, but McFarland continuing to roll, continuing to move. So they'll go out of bounds on that. 6 seconds on the clock, so time winding down in the second period, but good continuous motion there from McFarland to keep himself in this match.
That was a great sequence right there. You saw McFarland chuck his body at that ankle, which could have been dangerous, but every time that Hale didn't move, McFarland was following through. Thought Hale, could get some potential back points in his position. Nope, McFarland follows through. Score is still 1-0, but now McFarland has a chance to get a point from bottom.
So McFarland's going to start on bottom here. He also has that foot kind of extended out, so the referee is telling Hale how to get set with that. McFarland only has 42 seconds of riding time, so that's not really going to be a factor in this match. McFarland builds, trying to get hand control here. Hale really heavy on this side. Got his hands locked around McFarland's waist, trying to lift him in mat return, but McFarland did a nice job of hooking with his toe. So he'll get the escape here to tie up this match. So this is going to come down to probably just a takedown.
There's under 130 left. Both wrestlers got a singular point, both of them escape. It was a great job from McFarland there. Hale tried to bring him down to the mat. Did a good job of putting the ankle behind Hale's, locking it up, preventing him from chucking him down to the mat, and he was able to get the escape. Now a minute left on the clock. You hear the Hofstra bench yelling, all giving their sense to McFarland. But again, you mentioned riding time won't be a factor. 19 seconds to McFarland. But
so Max Hale is going to go for a shot there. We have a stall warning on McFarland. Hale's going to get a takedown here. Huge takedown. About 40 seconds on the clock now.
With 34 seconds left on the clock, Ross McFarland needs to be urgent. He needs to get something done. He needs to get it fast. McFarland could still win this match with an escape and a takedown of his own. The two wrestlers go out of bounds. It's a good opportunity for McFarland to get back in the neutral position and get a fast escape.
There was a really critical takedown there from Hale. McFarland had a quick escape last time, but he's only got 23 seconds now if he wants to win this match. So the pressure is on.
Maximus Hale's going to do whatever he can to keep McFarland down. Again, McFarland does a good job of ankling that.
McFarland is on his feet. Hale, mat return, continuing that pressure, and another mat return as time is winding down. And McFarland's not going to be able to do it. Hale is going to get this victory and move the Quakers up. Just 3 points to make it 34-4 over the Pride, but the rankings ring true. Shouldn't have too much of an effect, but a really good effort there from McFarland to make this such a close match. It really came down to that one takedown, but then just was unable to get up off the bottom and get an attack of his own.
Yeah, if you look at McFarland exiting the mat, you see him limping a little bit. On the last mat return, his knee did hit the floor to miss the mat, so hopefully he is fine there. But it was mat return after mat return after mat return for Hale to end the matchup. He wasn't going to let McFarland free, so Hale used his experience there and got some more points on the board for UPenn. But we move on to 197, where Nicholas Miller, who's a registered sophomore from Lock Haven, Pennsylvania, has a record of 9-10 this season. We'll be taking on Nate Taylor, who is a freshman from Sandy Hook, Connecticut, with a record of 5-12.
So this is one of the few non-ranked. Same with the next matchup at 285. We're going to see 4 non-ranked wrestlers, so could theoretically be anyone's match. Just really good for the Pride. But Taylor's going to get nice little attempt at a double leg there, but Miller kind of backs out. Is able to create some distance and get back to an equal spot.
We've seen Miller this year take a lot of strides and improvement from the previous seasons. Miller did win the Journeyman Classic to start his campaign for the year, so some impressive work from Miller this season. Again, 9-10 this year, a big improvement from last year. So
Taylor was in on a leg there, but Miller was able to drop his weight, get around the waist, and kind of just stall out to make a stalemate there, as neither guy was really working to improve. Just over a minute done in this first period. Taylor has kind of been controlling the center, giving Miller some really hard clubs and some good control. Miller trying to control our wrist there, working for his ties now. Taylor once again pressuring, controlling the center, making Miller have to step back. Coach is telling Miller to clear the hands and just take a shot. Miller, another guy who's not overly flashy, kind of basic, so he might actually match up really well with this style of wrestling that it looks like Penn has kind of exhibited here today. So Miller goes for an attack there, but Taylor's going to work out of it and get to a Russian.
now this is Taylor's first season with UPenn, and before that in high school, wrestled 4 years for Greens Farms Academy, compiled a 102-7 record during those 4 years. He's a two-time New England champion and a three-time league champion, so a very credentialed wrestler coming into UPenn this season.
Time winding down here in this first period, still scoreless. Of course, there's just one more matchup after this one. Hofstra's not going to be able to get it done here in Hempstead, but at least one win on the day. Of course, coming from Kyle Mosher, who wanted that win to just maintain his rankings, put himself in good position for postseason. But Miller took bottom to start this second period. Taylor trying to lift Miller, but was able to work out of it. So escape there for Nick Miller to put himself on the board.
To know it's something we mentioned earlier, we mentioned how Ross McFarland was limping off the mat, but he looks totally fine jogging on the outside. So hopefully everything is good over there. But to this matchup, Nate Taylor has been a 184-pounder for most of the season. He has wrestled at 197 3 times, but it's yet to get a victory at that weight class.
And a big double leg takedown there from Taylor, just got right in on the legs, and instead of really having to lift or drive Miller, he just kind of bundled his legs up together. Really powerful finish there. Put himself on the board. 3-1 now. A minute left in this second period. Like we've kind of been saying, this season is starting to wrap up for both teams. Hofstra has a couple more home duels, including the next couple weekends, and then they move over to LIU and the Patriot Last Chance Open, and then all of a sudden it's conferences. And as for UPenn, they have a couple more Ivy League matchups with Harvard and Brown and Cornell and Princeton, but then they also take on Rutgers and Lehigh, and then they're competing at the Franklin and Marshall Invitational, and then they have their Ivy League championships on March 9th. Little shot attempt there for Miller, trying to work the outside. But we're going to come down to not a lot of time remaining in this second period. Miller down just 2-3 against Nate Taylor. Taylor's going to take bottom possibly, but we're going to break real quick so he can talk to his coach, probably just blood time.
Again, this is another one of those matchups that we looked at and we saw is very close on paper. Both guys aren't ranked. Both guys have had similar victories this season. Nicholas Miller has had more victories, of course, 9 compared to 5. But Nick Miller is the bigger guy than Nate Taylor, or at least on paper should be. Nate Taylor, natural 184 pounder. So if you can see Nick Miller use his weight in this matchup, hopefully that can do him justice.
So they're going to start neutral with Taylor being awarded an escape to make it 4-2. But with the 3-point takedown, Miller just needs a takedown to take this match. Riding time not a factor as it's only 39 seconds right now. A couple of fakes there from Miller, heavy on the head. Taylor he's been controlling the center as Miller gets to a leg there, gets to a double, and a really solid takedown from Miller to get that. Get 3 points, put himself up 5-4 now. Minute and 25 on the clock, and so we'll see if Miller just rides this one out.
It was great work from the coaching staff to elect to go neutral, give Penn the point, knowing that it's a 1-point matchup, and with the 3-point takedown, a takedown would give Nick Miller the lead. Now we will have blood time once again with 1:09 left on the clock, but Nick Miller did a good job right there to get the 3 points and to give himself the lead in this matchup.
Yeah, right. That was a really smart wrestling to say it like, hey, give him the escape. Let's go on our feet. Try to get a takedown. It's the beauty of the 3-point takedown. I know some people are not fans. I think it's great. Helps narrow the matches and really awards wrestlers for how difficult a takedown is. That was a beautiful takedown by Miller there. So a minute and 9 on the board. 5-4. Taylor starting with his foot extended. He'll bring it back in. Up to his feet really quick. Now turn and get away. So now it's all tied up. 5-5. Minute left. Just going to come down to a takedown here. Riding time not a factor. Nice little shot there by Miller. Taylor tries to respond, but Miller flattens out. Back on their feet. Another shot attempt by Miller, but couldn't get close enough.
Both wrestlers are working here. They're not letting the clock tick down. Both wrestlers have gone for quite a few takedowns in this minute span. Both are actively working, but sprawled down blocks. Neither wrestler is letting the other wrestler get in on the legs.
Good action here as it's really coming down to it. Miller trying to get around here in a front headlock.
Miller did a good job of grabbing an underhook on that shot, making it hard for Taylor to get in on the legs. With 5 seconds left on the clock, it looks like this match will be going to extra time.
This is as close as it gets. Both guys had beautiful takedowns, and then both were quick to their feet to get those escapes. So really narrow competition here as we go into overtime. So it's going to be 2 minutes on the clock, sudden victory. So either guy gets a takedown, he'll automatically win. If not, 1 minute on the clock. If not, we're going to tiebreakers. Yeah, 2 minutes.
The entire Penn bench is off their seats, cheering on Nate Taylor. It's great to see a little unity on that side, but Nicholas Miller heavy on the head to start the extra time.
Taylor once again pressuring from the center, so Miller needs to get his own offense going. Control of hands there, in on a leg, and he'll finish with a double to get the takedown and win in overtime. Big win for Nicholas Miller there at 197 pounds to help move the Pride up to 734 against the Quakers.
What a beautiful double leg from Nicholas Miller. Got into high on the crotch, transfer the arm there, head on the outside, finished it as easy as could be. In overtime, Nicholas Miller looked like he was as fresh as the match could be. He's on the outside, sprinting on the side. Nicholas Miller did a great job there. But we move on to our last match of the night, or of the day, excuse me, at 285, where Danny Church, who's a redshirt freshman for Erie, Pennsylvania, this season accumulated a 3-14 record, and will be taking on John Pardo, who's also a freshman, but from Connecticut Square, Pennsylvania, and has accumulated an 11-10 record.
So this is another pretty even on paper matchup. We'll see if the Pride is able to once again come away with a win, but what an overtime performance from Nicholas Miller there.
A lot of times in overtime, we're expecting it to go a little bit of distance. 1, 2, 3. Nicholas Miller wasted no time. Heavy pressure, heavy hand attacks into the shot. That was great work from Nicholas Miller. Now, as the night winds down, or the day, excuse me, I keep saying night, but as the day winds down, we were talking about good coaching earlier. The Hofstra Pride acquired Joe Boop as a volunteer assistant coach trainee. Joe Boop was a former wrestler for the Pride. He was the Hofstra's first ever EIWA champion. So now he is on the Pride's bench. You see him on the side cheering on the wrestlers, coaching them very loud on the side. So it's good to have someone else on the bench, in the room, and help these wrestlers progress. But as we talked about that, a takedown from Pardo, an escape from Danny Church. The score is 3-1.
Yeah, getting things started off quick. Just about halfway through this first period. Already a takedown and an escape. A lot of action for the heavyweights here. So yeah, we're kind of looking at a tale of two coaches, a tale of two programs. Like we said, Rena had his 250th dual win. He coached the Quakers for a while, then took some time off and is back. And so very long history with this program. Of course, Franco has some history. He was an assistant coach and associate head coach before taking that year off and then coming back for his first year as a head coach. But the rest of his coaching staff, this is all their first year with Hofstra, and so these guys have had to make a lot of adjustments. It's also a really young lineup for the Pride, fairly young for the Quakers too, but it's where we're seeing the beginning of the season was rough in some ways for some guys, but they've started to become more steady, start to have some success as we get later into the season, which is exactly what you want. You want to be peaking when you need to, which is March, frankly. And in some of these conference duels, of course, this is non-conference. So they're going to give a point for Pardo there. Make it 4-1 here as we wind down in this first period.
Danny Church has had a little bit of a second-year slump last season as an unattached wrestler. He picked up 11 wins, only 8 losses, and this year he hasn't really found the same success. In 17 matchups, only 3 wins, 14 losses. So a win here would be big for Danny Church.
Pardo quick to his feet to get the escape there. Move it 5-1. Church now really needs to get his offense going. Has some really good shots. We did see him injure his knee a little bit earlier this season, or at least he has it wrapped up pretty good here. So a little bit more cautious than we had maybe seen in last season when he was just firing off shots, but still much more comfortable than going upper body like some heavyweights. But Pardo, of course, this is his first season collegiately, so he's still finding his style. It seems like he also favors lower body attacks. Yeah. With a deep underhook here, so see if he's able to use it.
And to mention, on some of his last year's success, he wrestled unattached at the New York State Championships and placed first at that heavyweight bracket. So, again, had a very successful season last year unattached. looking for some more success this season. But as you say that, John Pardo, little attack up top, got in on the legs, and another 3 points to increase the score to 8-1.
A big takedown there on the edge of the mat to put himself up, like you said, 8-1. About halfway through this second period. So Church, well, Pardo's going to take a different start on top and try to let Church up. So that's going to be escape for Church. Pardo really wants to work his takedowns, his attacks from neutral.
Sort of fighting or hand fighting on the edge of the mat. Both wrestlers trying to push each other out. John Pardo going for another takedown. Referee called out of bounds. Pardo's foot was still on the mat, but the two go back to the center.
Both these guys pretty tall, so you wouldn't want to work on the edge of the mat too much, but that's going to help Danny Church as he had a little throw-by attempt to an attack, but Pardo's going to re-attack on his own and get the takedown here and trap Church's arm. Put himself up 12-2, so this match is really starting to escape Church. Pardo now working for tech fall territory, not just major decisions, so Church has got to start. He's going to start bottom in this third period, but he needs a quick escape and then some takedowns of his own to help narrow up that score.
John Pardo, for heavyweight, has some really fast attacks. He's really fast in on those legs, and again, also very powerful. Strong mat return for Pardo. Pardo needs currently 4 points to get that tech fall, so he will be working for that.
Yeah, Church is really flattened out here. Got to be tired from the flurry of attacks he's had to face in this match, and Pardo's pressure on top. But he's going to let him out here. So Church is going to get the escape. Pardo would need more than just a takedown, though, to win this match. And so Church still has some room to work, but about a minute left in this third period, so not a ton of time if he wants to try to narrow that score. Church with an underhook here. Pardo also with an underhook. It's 50-50. Both guys have their hips out, though, so no one's looking for a throw. But Church moves to the legs there on the edge of the mat, so it's going to be a stall warning on Pardo, but ultimately unsuccessful in the takedown attempt there. 42 seconds on the clock. Another little attempt there by Church, but that just opens him up for Pardo to get to the leg here and finish on top for his takedown. Bring it to 15-3. Gonna let Church up again. Make it 15-4.
It looked like Danny Church went for an ankle trip there, but Pardo did a good job of reshooting, and that is something that we've been seeing in some of the other matches for UPenn. The reshooting after Hofstra's failed attacks, so it's obviously something that they work in the UPenn training wrestling room.
Yeah, so that stalling on Church's made it 2 points for Pardo, and now with the takedown, he's going to win by technical fall again. So that's going to make it 39-7 for the Quakers over the Pride. Zach, what are your takeaways from today?
My takeaways is UPenn is a very good wrestling school, but there's obviously a lot of good things to see. Tom Mosher wrestled a very good match. Nicholas Miller had a great match, winning in overtime, and even in defeat, Ross McFarland had a great performance, really close match up till the very end. And even some of the tech follows, someone like Chase Lagarde, even though he got tech followed, there's a lot of promise that we saw in that matchup. Dries Clark showed after a really tough sequence, after it looked like he was going to get hurt, he was able to battle out of that. So a lot to take away from this match.
And that'll do it, though. Pennsylvania beats Hofstra 39-7 at home. The Pride is back in action for an EAWA matchup against Franklin and Marshall on Sunday, February 2nd, right here at the campus of Hofstra University, or you can listen right here on the Hofstra Pride Athletics YouTube channel. Once again, I'm Olivia Hofstra, joined by Zach Weicker. Thank you for listening, and go Pride.